Greetings all, and welcome to Esoteric Babble. Today we continue the series Ancient Greek for Esotericists. And we have two more sentences today that I think are really interesting, and we're just going to dive into them. We're going to start with the vocabulary to the first sentence. We start with Sωφία. This is the Greek word for wisdom. If you're interested in Gnosticism, you've probably come across this word. And if you know the word philosophy, the love of wisdom, then you will, of course, know this word. Our next word here, κτῆμα, it's kind of interesting. We don't get at the beginning of words in English this kind of consonant cluster, but a κτῆμα is a possession. Then we have πλούτος, which is wealth. This is ultimately where the word Pluto comes from. Then we have tιμιώτερον. Now this word means more valuable. And another way to say that is this word is it's an adjective and it's in the comparative form. So it's kind of like the word better in English. So we have this T-E-R in English, and we have the tau, epsilon, rho in Greek. It's kind of can help us remember that it's a comparative. So timios is what you would have to look up in the dictionary, and that would mean something like worthy of honor or valuable. And again, in this comparative form, it means more valuable. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the sentence because there's some grammar that goes along with that. And then finally, we have this little particle de. And it can mean but. It could even mean and. But just like the other Menander sentence we had, this sentence is a single line, and which comes from a longer work, and we just don't know the context. So it's hard to know what this de is kind of. It would be hard to know how to understand it. So I hate to say we're going to ignore it, but we're going to ignore it. So the sentence pattern is interesting in this case in Greek. In this case, we have A, B. I think we mentioned before that Greek does not have to use the verb to be. And this is one of those instances. So in English, we would still have to put it in. If we didn't, I think we could still make sense of it, and it might have more of a poetic sound. So I guess, dear listener, that would be up to you. If we're just trying to translate the meaning, we would definitely have to put the verb in, I think. Again, we're going to build this sentence up. And this is kind of the A and B part. So we have Sωφία κτῆμα. Wisdom is, understood, a possession. And then we have Sωφία κτῆμα τιμιώτερον. Wisdom is a possession more valuable. We could say wisdom is a more valuable possession. In Greek, that's going to be the same. In English, it might seem different to you, dear listener, so I leave that again to you. And when we have the whole sentence, you can, again, I shouldn't say again because I'm expecting you to read my mind. I don't think I said this, but we're really looking at the Greek here, and we're trying to get the meaning from the Greek. And if we commit to a translation, then that's a slightly different thing. So if we are going to translate this, we would have to make some kind of decision there. But we are right now just kind of examining how the Greek words fit together. Sωφία πλούτου κτῆμα τιμιώτερον. So now we get the word πλούτου, and this is in what's known as the genitive case. So if you have not begun your actual Greek grammar journey, that may sound like gobbledygook, but this form of the word would normally express possession. It would be kind of like putting an apostrophe S after a word in English. But in this case, it's actually the word used after a comparison. And if you ever took Latin, you'd know it would be there's a similar construction. It's in the ablative case, and that's true in Pali and I think in Sanskrit. So the meaning here then is wisdom is a possession more valuable than wealth. So this is the word plútù is the word wealth. It's put here in this, it takes this form after a comparison. So in English, the way we do this is we use the word than. And then finally, Sωφία de πλούτου κτῆμα τιμιώτερον. Like I was saying, we don't really know what this de is referring back to. There's kind of a famous construction in Greek, starting with men in one clause and finishing with de in another. We don't know. Maybe this is finishing that. It wouldn't have to. So, like I said, we'll just kind of leave it to the side for now. Wisdom is a more valuable possession than wealth. Or, wisdom is a possession more valuable than wealth. So I will let you ponder that, dear listener. Okay, so next sentence pattern here. This Greek sentence not only does not use the verb to be, but it kind of inverts the order of the A and B. So, or you could think about the subject and predicate if you want some jargon there. So in this Greek sentence, when we see it in its final form, it's going to look like B-A. But in English, we would, again, in just like a normal prose situation, render it as A is B. You could, in English, we could keep the B-A form, and again, it would have like a poetic kind of sound. And once again, this would be up to you, dear listener. So this sentence comes from the Hermetica, Book VII, and it's actually the title of Book VII. So we actually have two words here, he, ἀγνωσία. He is another Greek word for the, and ἀγνωσία is ignorance. As we go along in this sentence, I think you'll find that this is an instance where we would not use the word the in English. So this is an instance where the English and Greek usages are not completely overlapping. So here, this is really interesting. We get this prepositional phrase, περὶ τοῦ θεοῦ. Now we've talked about to theoū. We haven't seen this form, and to is the, theoū is from theos, God. In this case, it could mean of God, of the divine. This is the form that this word takes after the preposition περί. So περί means concerning, and altogether, and I really jumbled that around, I'm sorry. Περὶ τοῦ θεοū means concerning God, or concerning the divine or the transcendent. Ignorance concerning the divine. So this is the first part of the sentence, μέγιστον κακόν. And μέγιστον is from a word megas, like mega. We probably get a sense of what that might mean. Μέγιστον is the superlative. It's the greatest. It's not just great, it's the greatest. And κακόν is evil. Literally, it's evil. So, and this, to me, this is interesting because even though we have the definite article with the subject, I don't think we would use it in English there. But here in the first part where we don't have it, I think we would insert the definite article in English. Quite literally, ignorance concerning God is, we have to insert that, the greatest evil. So just a thought on this word κακόν. It is literally the word for evil. But I think in English, and the way we use the word evil, it's very specific these days. So it seems like evil, you have to be Charles Manson or Hitler, something like that, to kind of rise to the level or to that label. And so I don't think that that's what this is really talking about. I think it's more of a malaise or some illness almost, or something something of that nature. So you'd have to kind of think about how you want to handle that word. We can call it evil, but like I said, I think evil is a little strong these days. So just think upon that, dear listener. So we're almost to the end here. We have another little prepositional phrase, en tοῖς ἀνθρώποις. And we've come across, it means in. Tοῖς is one of the forms of the definite article, but this is another place where Greek and English don't overlap, because Greek has a form of the definite article in the plural. So this is a plural, and it's technically in the dative case. We don't have to worry about that if you're not studying the grammar. Just this is the form that this word will take after the word en. So tοῖς is the definite article, plural, ἀνθρώποις. Now that comes from if you look it up in the dictionary, ἀνθρώπος, person. And, we can think of anthropology or anthropomorphic. Lots of words like that can help us remember ἀνθρώπος. And I think I put the accent here in the wrong place. Not going to lie to you, dear listener. I'm not sure how to key that in. I haven't memorized this Greek keyboard very well. Let's see. I'll give it a shot, though. Let's see if I can. Okay, so that will do it. That will get us there. Okay, so in this case, again, literally in people, but maybe this would be better expressed in English, among people. And this is another case where I don't think we would use the definite article. So, ignorance concerning the divine is the greatest evil among people. And the last part here, we just have this little conjunction at the beginning, hoti. Hoti, μέγιστον κακόν εν τοῖς ἀνθρώποις, περὶ του θεοῦ ἀγνωσία. So, hoti means that. I won't say much more about this right now, but this is how the titles of Greek works get expressed sometimes. If we were writing out a title in English, I don't think we would put the that in. So again, dear listener, I am always interested in what you have to say. I really apologize for my my lack of clarity at times. So I do sincerely apologize for that. But I am interested in what you have to say, and I hope these sample sentences make you want to explore ancient Greek for all its esoteric wisdom. Peace.